Man, oh man, oh man. Whew. Where do we begin? Where do we begin? I say this because, again, you see what I have on the screen. And I titled this show, it could change depending on how I want to edit it. It's LeBron Be Gone. Dray is not what they say. Question mark. NBA playoffs are underway. And as you guys know, we are now in the second round of the playoffs. But I want to show you a couple of pictures that I want to share to the stage. Curry, Steph Curry advances. Well, I can tell you where LeBron is, as we all know. LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers were gentlemen swept uh, and are now home watching the playoffs. Now, we also understand Steph Curry sustained a hamstring injury, and the Wolves and are facing the Timberwolves and young Anthony Edwards. And that series is now knotted as of this show, one apiece, with Steph Curry likely out until maybe game five or game six, which is really difficult. It's going to be difficult for the Warriors to come out and play and win, especially when they have a guy named Draymond Green, who continuously finds himself in battle with the NBA officials and who is a tech or one or two away from being suspended once again. And it's like Draymond Green simply will not learn from his previous mistakes. You have cost your team an NBA championship. If anybody was sitting on sleeping on the rock, wasn't aware, this is the team guy that was suspended in game, I believe it was game five or game four. I can't remember what. I think it was game four, and he was suspended for game five, where the Warriors were up 3-1 on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And suffice it to say, game five they lost. Steph Curry was still injured, which a lot of people will not remember, and for some reason, but the media always seems to have an excuse when it comes to LeBron and his consistent failures. As you can see, the excuse, this is from my man Goatman 23, that he was quoting Charles Barkley, and it is a pattern every time LeBron loses. This is something where you can say if the man is injured, got no problem with it. He's injured, no problem. But he always comes up suspiciously with an injury after a loss. In the 2000, what is it, 13 or 14 season against the Spurs, he has to literally be carried off because he has cramps in San Antonio. No one else had that issue. And old Tim Duncan, who was 36, 37 years old at the time, didn't have these issues, but LeBron was the guy that had the cramps and had to be carried away. At the end of one of the losses against the Warriors, he played fine. You didn't see any issues. He comes out with a hand injury at the postseason wrap up. We've seen this thing happen after every loss. And Charles Barkley, one of the NBA's greatest players, despite what you think, because he's a TV personality and you're not old enough to have seen Barkley play, this was an MVP of the league. This was a team guy that led the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals, where they were the favorites, by the way, had home court advantage. And suffice it to say, they lost to the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan, in a 6 game series. The Suns were your predecessors to what you see today with the Golden State Warriors in their heyday, but they had an inside force that Golden State has never had in Barkley. But Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, Mark West, Cedric Ceballos, they had young Richard, I forgot Richard's last name. They had a very good, complete basketball team. And Jordan and his Bulls, with Michael averaging 41, which is unheard of and still never been duplicated, was able to handle the Suns in 6 games. But Barkley says every time this guy loses, there's somehow a mysterious injury that pops up. So now, what you're going to hear people say to Barkley, he's a hater. Every time someone has a critique of LeBron James, they're a hater. And I'm really tired of people throwing around this word hater. Every time your hero, your idol, comes up lane, there's an excuse, there's someone hating on LeBron. Every time. And I see this routinely when it comes to. I've heard people say Michael Jordan never sniffed the playoff. First of all, he was retired. So you're not going to be in the playoffs when you're retired. He comes back at 39 and age 40, plays all 82 games, by the way, in one of those seasons, had the Wizards, which had won 19 games, on the verge of making the playoffs before he sustained a knee injury. But he still stayed and played all 82 games. Michael Jordan came back to the Wizards without a top 5 guy in Luka Doncic. So when you try to make that comparison, it's just lacking context. Who had a top 5 guy in Luka Doncic? Who had a top 8 or 9 guy in Anthony Davis? And guess what happens still when he has these great players that LeBron has? Let's take a look at the age of a team, and somehow this is constantly never brought up and mentioned. I want to show you something when LeBron and them missed the play-in tournament. As a 10th seed, look at the ages of the players that LeBron had. In his prime, Anthony Davis, 28 years old. Dwight Howard, 35. LeBron was 36. Russell Westbrook, who has proven to be still a good, very good player. And you have Carmelo Anthony at age 37, still playing. Whereas Dennis Rodman, somehow he's now this greater than mythical figure because it hurts LeBron's legacy, because you have to demean and diminish Michael Jordan's, has Dennis Rodman, who was a cast off by the San Antonio Spurs and the league, basically out of the league. And Michael Jordan did not recruit Dennis Rodman. Phil Jackson asked him, what would you think of us adding Dennis Rodman? Michael said, okay, cool, we can add him. And Dennis Rodman never made an all-star team with the Bulls. That's another lie. He was an all-star with the Pistons. Scottie Pippen was 33 on that team, while Rodman was 37. Jordan himself was 35. Ron Harper, whose knees were almost shot but had become a much better defensive player, was 34. And young Tony Kukoc, the European Hall of Fame inductee, by the way, not because of what he did in the NBA, because we will have the same meme. We'll say that Michael Jordan had Dennis Rodman Hall of Famer, Scottie Pippen Hall of Famer, and Tony Kukoc Hall of Famer. That is another lie by La Media. Tony Kukoc is in the Hall of Fame for his European international basketball, not because of what he did in the NBA. These are facts. Dennis Rodman is in the Hall of Fame because of what he did with the Pistons and with the Bulls late in his career. And you have Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. Those are the 3 Hall of Famers, but Rodman was past his prime, still able to rebound and defend well, but he was never an offensive threat at all. Meanwhile, LeBron, Hall of Famer. Russell Westbrook, Hall of Famer, still young. Dwight Howard, still a very effective big man who would have helped the Lakers today. And Anthony Davis, another Hall of Famer, with Carmelo Anthony, another Hall of Famer who could still give you 10 off the bench right now. And they didn't even make the play-in tournament. Finished 10th. And his fan base will say, well, LeBron missed he only played 56 games. Well, in those 56 games that LeBron played, the Lakers that year were under 500 with him on that team. So with the excuses, stop with the lies. Let's take a quick commercial break so I can pay some bills. But there are actually, you know what? I want to get into something real quickly. Let me see if I can find it, because I think this is so important, because this is part of the reason when people say they don't like LeBron James or they hate LeBron. I don't hate LeBron. So let me just let you understand that. But what I hate is liars. What I hate is la capping. What I hate is throwing your teammates all under the bus. Let's play you something because this was a recent, and I got to remember who shared this video. Let me see, give credit where credit is due. And the guy that came out with this is LeBron James taking credit for a shot that was made by Kyrie Irving. Watch this.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For so many reasons.
I was super, super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports going on in Cleveland, greatest player of all time. You know, everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team ever assembled. And for us to come back, you know, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, in my career, I felt like, oh, shit.
So you heard what LeBron James said back on, what was the show? The Shot, right? He said that play, that made him the greatest player of all time. They were the greatest team ever assembled. That is the same narrative that Draymond Green started lying about on one of his podcasts on the Draymond Green show. Tell me, how is this the greatest team ever assembled? Just explain that to me. So let's see. Steph Curry, 6'3", 185 pounds, 6'7" pick in the draft, all-star, all-NBA, greatest shooter that the league has ever seen. Okay. 6'3", 185. Maybe. Klay Thompson, last part of the lottery, 13th, 14th pick, out of no big school that we know of where he played. I think Washington State or something like that. Okay. And Draymond Green, second round out of Michigan State. Should have been a first round in my opinion, but a second round pick. And then you got Andre Iguodala coming off the bench. What's the big guy? The big center. A couple of the centers that nobody remembers. I can't remember the center's name for some reason right now. But he was hurt in that series, which is what let the lane open up and why LeBron was able to drive. It'll come back to me at some point. But he was a big body presence that was missing in that series. Kyrie Irving averaged 27 in that series and is the guy that hit the game-winning shot. So LeBron is saying that the Golden State Warriors, who won 73 games and finished 73-9, but if you go look at their playoffs, they lost a lot of games in the playoffs that year. You know why? Because Steph Curry was still injured. Andrew Bogut is the big guy that was in the middle. There was no rim protector. And so he beat that supposed team, made him the greatest player of all time. So now it's about me again when it comes to LeBron. That made me the greatest player of all time because he beat what he called the greatest team ever assembled. But wait a minute. So if that's the greatest team ever assembled, which I just gave you their draft positions, I just named you their core players, but LeBron was the number one draft pick in the NBA. Got Rookie of the Year, which was a robbery over Carmelo Anthony. He should have never got it. Carmelo played in the much more difficult West and took his team to the playoffs. LeBron didn't make the playoffs his first two seasons until Larry Hughes saved him. That's what y'all say about Jordan getting Pippen. Stupidity at its finest. But so that made him the greatest because he beat that team when he was the number one overall pick, Rookie of the Year. The league gave it to him. He had Kyrie Irving, who was the number one pick in the draft. Rookie of the Year, All-Star MVP. He had Kevin Love, another lottery pick, a double-double machine, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, Deli Dovia, Big Zildronis, and all these other guys This was an even matchup. As a matter of fact, I thought the Cavs were the better team because they had the better overall talent. What it shows me, and now you got people like Colin Cowherd and them trying to tell you that, well, to the teams win championships and the rosters and 1 through 8, because now LeBron has come up with something else that I'm going to play you in a minute, and we're now saying, wait a minute, hold on. If you look at it on paper, the Cavs actually had the most talent because LeBron was supposed to be the best player in the world, right? So he's the best player in the world, all 6'8", 6'9", 260 pounds. He's got Kyrie Irving, one of the most creative, most skilled players of all times, and he's got Kevin Love playing a power big three space rebound guy. And he beat the Warriors team that was an injured Steph Curry, Andrew Bogut that was missing in the middle, and Draymond suspended Green. Help me understand. But that made him the greatest player of all time. So what happened the next season? So you're telling me that the Warriors that year were the better assembled team than the Warriors that added Kevin Durant. Number 1 or number 2, whatever pick he was, with the Supersonics out of Texas. And Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. To me, it was an even matchup now because you've got a guy in Kevin Durant who was considered the second or third best player in the world, even mano a mano going up against LeBron James. Let's go at it. Let's see who's the best. You got Steph Curry with Kyrie Irving going at it. You got Kevin Love and Draymond, and then you got Iman and J.R. Smith trying to handle Klay Thompson. This is an even matchup. The media has tried to tell you because the Warriors had won 73 games because they were trying to win those many games. The Cavs, who had won maybe 57 games, did not play to their potential. That's why that's not the greatest team ever assembled. If that's the greatest team ever assembled, then what was the Warriors with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry then? Does that not sound like the better team? Use your head. Stop letting these people lie to you. Is what they do all the time. That's what I hate. Now, let me take a quick commercial because I got to play this video. But speaking of Draymond Green, let me show you this video where Draymond Green is once again now saying, well, let's see if I can find it. I'll see if this is it. We'll see. If it's not it, whatever. We'll play something else. This should be Draymond, I believe. And this is courtesy of.
I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous. Look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy.
So Draymond is sick of being considered the angry black man. As he says, the agenda of trying to make him the angry black man, and he's sick of it. Well, Draymond, if there's smoke, there's fire. And you are often involved in the most dumbest dust-ups and flailing and hitting people in the head, hitting people in the lower regions. It's always you, though, Dre. So, Dre, is it not what they say? If I keep seeing the same examples of you doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you never learn from your mistakes. You're 30-something years of age. At this point, you would think you would understand, I can't keep doing that. But no. Dre apparently doesn't want to be able to come out and play because Dre, you are what they say you are. And as a black man, yes, sometimes I'm angry because the world comes at you in multiple ways. I had a conversation in a barbershop where a guy was talking about he was a racist at one point, white Caucasian brother. and was telling me that he was a racist. And I just looked at him like, okay, but he's grown up and he's matured. And he made the conversation that said that he got on his son one day and it made him think about it because his son said he didn't like his classmate because he was a black guy. He was a black kid. And he beat his kid. He spanked him or whatever he did. And then his wife said, where do you think he got that from? And it made him change. But then he made the comment to me about we all were slaves. We all have gone through stuff. Granted, we all have. We all have gone through certain situations. But what I had to point out to him was that chattel slavery was quite different from other indentured servants. An indentured servant would work off something for 7 years, and then you were supposed to be giving restitution. Chattel slavery destroyed families, legacies. Black men were castrated. Black men were molested. Black men's wives and children were sold in front of them and done nefariously, incredibly wicked, evil things done right in front of them, and they had no power to stop it. That's a whole nother story. And we today have seen redlining and all these other different, Noriega and the war on drugs that was planted into the communities of Black African American people. The drugs, the guns that's placed in these communities. So this is not something, the driving around and thinking, oh man, I'm getting pulled over while black. That has happened to me and not even doing anything wrong. With an ex-wife at the time who had breast cancer, I was pulled over accused of speeding. We had just come back from the cancer place and getting her chemo. So I was driving slow because I got my wife here. I get pulled over accused of speeding. So don't say there's not a reason to be angry at times. However, I'm not going to excuse foolishness that Draymond often represents. So I judge people by the color, by the character, not by the color, but by the character of how they treat me and how you treat my family and friends. And if you treat me well, I got love for everybody. Let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth!
Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
Now, more than ever, all U.S. veterans need your help. If you have an old car, truck, or van, you can donate it today and help them. And they'll come pick it up for free. Plus, the money raised helps our nation's disabled veterans and their families. Call the number on your screen right now. Within a few days, we'll come and tow it away for free, running or not. And the proceeds greatly help U.S. veterans. So please call right now.
And we're back. Sometimes you got to get a little bit stuff off your chest, right? Sometimes you got to get it off your chest. But we are back. And now, let me show you this video where once again, LeBron James has found a way to defer or to blame his teammates or for a lack of not performing. Listen to this. I mean, this is, again, one of the reasons why people don't like him. Listen to this.
You know, you're only as great as your teammates, allow you to be as well.
People gonna try to blame whatever, blame whoever. They can blame me. I just didn't play good enough.
You have your big guys.
that make big plays at the end of games, throughout the game, or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, teams win championships. I don't lose sleep over that. Like, fuck, how did me and Luka lose?
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, there's 8 other guys on the floor.
Yeah.
So
of course,
So
I think that cannot be excuse.
The Timberwolves-Lakers series has long been over with, but that hasn't stopped LeBron from coming up with new excuses. First, he came out with an injury.
This is the first time I've ever had a sustained knee injury where I had to okay, you got to get off your feet. I knew as soon as when the impact happened with me and DiVincenzo, I felt it right away. My knee locked up, and that's why I stayed on the ground for quite a minute to see if the knee will kind of release a little bit, and that's the MCL injury that I had. So 4 to 6 weeks, the docs told me. I have 4 or 6 weeks now. That's the benefit.
But that shouldn't be too surprising since he does it every time he loses.
Pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand. So,
my ankle was the only thing that was kind of bothering me. Well, obviously bothered me in the later stage of the season.
I tore a tendon in my foot. Went to the LeBron James of feet. We was just hit with injuries after injuries after injuries, and it's hard to come back from that.
Even if we would have won game, at 5 at home, I would have probably missed 6 and 7, and even further. But
he said it was a grade 2 MCL sprain. Game 5 was still close when the impact happened, so he came up with this for insurance in case they lost. And that's why he didn't go to the locker room. If he really suffered that serious of an injury, he wouldn't be able to come back in the game or play the rest of the season if they won. And with that serious of an injury, he would have needed help to the locker room and crutches to leave the arena. Kevin Durant has suffered this exact injury dozens of times in his career, and every single time he goes straight to the locker room. The longest he ever played through an MCL sprain was 30 seconds, where he was completely immobile and writhing in pain the entire time. Not only did LeBron finish the game with 0 noticeable pain, he was even setting screens with other players running directly into that knee. And for those of you that are going to say LeBron just played through it and he's tougher than Kevin Durant, don't let his small frame fool you. Kevin Durant is one of the toughest players in the league. He played on a partial torn Achilles in the finals before tearing it all the way, and he only sits out when he absolutely has to.
'Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off.
But it doesn't really matter when the Lakers would have lost. LeBron would have just waited until that happened. He takes a hard fall every game, so he could have come up with anything. You see, on that play, Randall actually broke my skull, and I couldn't see, I couldn't talk to my teammates or anything of that nature. And that's why I stayed on the ground so long. But I pretty much played games 2 through 5 with a broken face. So you got all that right. LeBron also blamed the role players for him and Luka losing.
I don't lose sleep over that. Like, fuck, how did me and Luka lose?
No.
Well, yeah. Well, there's 8 other guys on the floor.
There's many reasons why this excuse isn't valid, but to keep things as simple as possible, here's the 4 players responsible for the Lakers offense in the series. Here's the 4 players responsible for the Timberwolves offense. Which 4 players are considered better? Which team had a better regular season and a higher seed? And which team was favored to win the series? Everyone knows the Timberwolves have more size and a better defense, while the Lakers have none. But outside of Game 5, when Rudy Gobert turned into Shaq, every game the Wolves won, their key players outplayed the Lakers' key players. Same goes for the game the Lakers won. Ant had players step up, but none of them are the caliber of Luka Doncic, which is why many thought the Lakers would easily win this series. Even if the Wolves are a bad matchup, nearly every game was close, and LeBron had key turnovers and missed shots in those games.
James looking to throw it into the front court. Bounce pass, deflected and stolen by McDaniels. But Hachimura got tied up. James fell out of his hands, picked up by McDaniels. McDaniels down the lane, inside, layup, shot, Abbott. Into the hands of James, fires up a 3, side of the backboard. Kicks to James. James puts up a 3. Rebound.
Well, yeah. Well, there's 8 other guys on the floor.
LeBron has not scored in the 4th quarter. Luka's got only 3 in the quarter. And Gobert's done a good job defending Doncic out there. Altering his shot, offensive rebound, Hachimura. Here comes LeBron, 3, no! Doncic a move, got the screen, the collision into DiVincenzo. Another rebound by Gobert. Conley ahead, Edwards will float and get.
So you can't just blame the role players. It's everyone's fault.
We need to be better. It's not his fault. I think it's everybody's fault. I mean, it's a little bit his fault too. But it's collectively as a group, we need to be much better.
Luka was just in the finals last year, And yes, they had centers. But so did the Minnesota Timberwolves when they had Cat, Gobert, and Naz Reid. So how did the Mavs beat them? Luka and Kyrie outplayed Ant and Cat in more games. They averaged more points on better shooting, and they took over and delivered in the clutch.
Gobert is out there. Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Got it! Works by McDaniels, who's got to be careful. Spins, fades, fires, hits. Give Kyrie a turn here now. Irving and Edwards, Towns will pick him up. Backpedals, long shot.
They did the same thing against Harden and Paul George on the Clippers. Luka and Kyrie were the best duo in the West. So even though they didn't have the best team, they made the finals. Teams matter, but the superstars make the biggest difference in the playoffs. That's why the Warriors beat a bigger and better Rockets team. They had Steph and Jimmy. When one of them had a bad game, the other one stepped up. And if neither of them stepped up, they lost. Sure, they had a breakout game from Buddy Hield, but the Lakers had multiple breakout games from Rui Hachimura. And now that Steph's hurt, if he doesn't come back soon, they're going to lose. That's why the Nuggets beat a better rounded Clipper team. They had Jokic, while Harden didn't show up in Game 7. And that's why the Knicks are up 2-0 against a better Celtics team. Brunson is outplaying Tatum and Brown. And if the Lakers won the series, would we hear about the greatness of Luka and LeBron, or about the other 8 guys on the court? I think we all know the answer to that question. So you don't get to take all the credit when you win, but none of the blame when you lose.
Very, 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 very well said. And this is what we're talking about. This is exactly what we're talking about. It's never about him when they lose, but it's always about him when they win. That's why people don't like LeBron James. That's why him being even mentioned in the GOAT conversation is beyond ridiculous. Let's take a look again of his most recent playoffs performances, and you compare it to a guy like Steph Curry. This is how many playoff wins LeBron James has had in the last 2 years. Oh, but he's 40. Somebody said he was 41 the other day. He's been 40 for 3 years, by the way, because every time he loses, they blame it on age or they blame his teammates. And by the way, he had a negative 40 plus in that series in player efficiency. Negative. So let's look at it. Playoff wins in the 2 years, 2 for LeBron. He was gentleman swept in back-to-back years in the first round. Steph Curry, playoff wins in just 2 weeks, he had 4. But yet, we're still talking about this is the LeBron James era and LeBron James is dominant. I think people don't understand what dominant means. Domination means you take over and lead your team to wins, not you put up nice-looking stats. If you have the ball in your hand the majority of the time, you're going to have stats. This is a fact. If I play, and LeBron is a brilliant basketball, he knows, okay, I can get 20, 25 if I score 5 to 8 points in a quarter. I'm going to get my 20, 25 plus. If I can grab 3 or 4 rebounds in 3 or 4 quarters, I'm going to get 8 to 12. If I get 3 in this quarter, 3 the next quarter, 3 the next quarter, 3 the next quarter, that's 12. If I can get 2 or 3 assists from great players, and the thing the guy put out in the video, shout out again, the Lakers were favored to win the series, not the other way around. All the experts picked the Lakers to win. Matter of fact, here's one of them that routinely glazes on the Lakers. Routinely glazes. Let's hear what he had to say.
It don't matter. Divorce court, child support, Lou Dort. Lakers in 5. The Thunder, a Boost Mobile bundle, WWE Royal Rumble. Lakers in 5. OKC, KFC, UFC. Lakers in 5. Houston Rockets. I don't care nothing about no light socket, a court docket, or my empty pockets. Lakers in 5. You can say SGA, PGA, USA. Lakers in 5. Phoenix.
So there you go, LaShannon Sharp claiming Lakers in 5. Just like all the other folks out here talking about Lakers in 5. But here's something that they did not understand that I understand, and most of us who've witnessed Michael Jordan, who've witnessed Kobe Bryant, who've witnessed these great, great, great all-time great players, and what they do is they perform in the clutch. LeBron does not perform in the clutch. He gets stats. But if you look at the last 4 minutes of the game, he disappears. Even in that final where he claimed that made him the greatest player of all time. Y'all want to hear that one more time? Let's hear it one more time. This made me the greatest player of all time. That right there made me the greatest player of all time. Listen to this foolishness.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For
That's
so
what
many
I felt.
reasons.
I was super, super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports was going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like,
that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. That one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Again, what about the other 8 guys on the court? But that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Let's see what the greatest player of all time has done throughout his career when it matters. Let's take a look at these fourth quarters during this particular playoffs. This is what the greatest player supposedly of all time did. Game 4, 4 points on 50%, game 1, I'm sorry, 4 points on 40% field goal shooting. Game 2, 6 points on 25% field goal shooting. Game 3, nothing in the last 5 minutes. Game 4, 0 points on 0% field goals. Didn't make a shot. In game 5, he had a garbage layup where they just let him Julius Randle just let him go by, and he had 5 points in the fourth quarter on 28% field goal shooting in the clutch when it mattered, when he's supposed to win. And he was running around and having a layup. And even Skip Bayless, whether you want to say about him, but most people know if you have an MCL sprain 1 or 2, you are not staying in the game, running up and down the court, blocking out and doing all this stuff. It does not happen. That's why we know. Oh, and he was also at a party or out and about until 4 a.m. the next day. That same day, hanging out with a supposed injury. Let's take a look at all these other excuses. The LeBron stats that they love to ignore. They talk about how he is the leading scorer in playoff history. He has the most points in NBA history. He's up there in the most assists, and he has all this. But what they never talked about is how he's betrayed his team to join super teams. How he has 5,000 plus turnovers and counting. How he's missed 20 straight missed three-point shot streak. How he's had 120 teammates traded. How he's had 8 head coaches fired. He has been swept 3 times by opponents. 14,000, the most field goals missed. He has the most playoff losses. That is now more than 104. He has the 110 most NBA Finals free throws missed. He has 33 NBA Final losses, which is the most all time. He's had the most All-Star game losses with 10. Are you kidding me? He's the only player to get swept in 3 different decades. He literally changed the standard of the sport that stats is more important than winning. But that right there may be the greatest player of all time. But your teammates, we don't win because you have teammates. What are we talking about at this point? So, enough of that. We're going to get ready to end this whole show. So we know the playoffs now that LeBron be gone, has OKC, the 1 seed, the team with the best record in the NBA all season, 67 wins, are tied with Nikola Jokic's Denver Nuggets, 1 game apiece after the Nuggets stole game 1, and Aaron Gordon once again came up big and hit another big shot to win that game. And you have the glamorous matchup if Steph Curry can come back, which we've already talked about, with the Warriors versus the Wolves. They'll tied at 1 apiece. Anthony Edwards is trying to be Thanos in terms of the gauntlet of knocking off all-time great players. He did it with KD last year in a sweep. He gentleman swept LeBron and just a week ago. And now he's tied with the Warriors, and he has a chance to defeat Steph Curry. He has to be favored right now because Curry is out. So if he does beat Curry, it's because Curry's not playing. It would be the reason why he's going to win. If Curry comes back and is healthy and the Warriors can win at least another game before he comes back, they'll win the series, is what I predict. Because Steph Curry is the best player in that series. He's the all-time better player. Anthony Edwards is coming, and let's listen, he reminds people of Jordan, is the reason why we like him because of his tenacity. He looks like him. He looks more like Michael Jordan than his own children. Mike, I might ask some questions because the kids don't look nothing like him. His sons don't. Anthony Edwards and the other Michael Jordan child, Jimmy Butler, just jokes. They look more like his sons than Marcus and his other son. They look more like Michael Jordan, ironically. But Anthony Edwards is not Michael Jordan. He's just not. Love his game. And let me make sure we say this. This is for all of the Jordan fans, the Kobe fans, people who love dogs. And notice I watched Colin Cowherd him earlier today. He was talking about dogs. He never brought up LeBron James. Never brought him up. Because he knows he's not that. I want to make the right play. The right play is winning, man. It's taking over when your team needs you to. A la Steph Curry. A la Anthony Edwards. A la Shai Gilgeous. A la Luka Doncic. A la Nikola Jokic. A la Big Body Brunson. Jalen. A la Donovan Mitchell. A la Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese, he is not overrated, Halliburton. He's underrated. Those are the dogs. Luka excluded because he's out of the playoffs. Those are the dogs left in the playoffs. Jimmy Butler, another dog. Another guy that can take over. So that's who's going to most likely win a championship, is when you have a dog that takes over. Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown, very good players. They're 1A, 1B-ish type guys, but not necessarily assassins. They just got a great team around them. But these other guys that I mentioned, dogs. Who comes out of this? I don't even know. The Knicks are up 2-0 on the Celtics right now after 2 big wins on the road. We'll see if Go New York continues as they go to the Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. Donovan Mitchell and his Cavs self-destructed. I saw them literally self-destruct in the last few minutes of that game, and Halliburton hit yet another big shot. Remember, he closed out the Bucks with a game-winning layup. And now he just won another game with basically the equivalent of a buzzer beater. That guy is to be watched. Big body Brunson, big free throws, big defense, Bridges and the rest of those guys doing things. Going to be interesting to see who gets it all, who gets it done. Rooting interest. I like Steph Curry and the Warriors. I like Anthony Edwards. Those are the guys. If I'm looking at Denver, I like Russell Westbrook. I'd like to see him get a ring. That would be who I like. But SGA is so smooth. OKC, I still think they are not quite ready, but you never know. Winning 67 games. Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs are in trouble of being swept. So we'll see what happens there. The Knicks, if they sweep Boston, that's a big deal. And they have a guy in Brunson. Carl Anthony Towns, Big Cat, is playing well enough. But I think it's OG Anunoby. You have Mikal Bridges, who just never misses any games. Those guys have a nice, and then Josh Hart is just a dog as far as rebounds, plays very well with intensity. I really like how he plays the game. He's not a 1, he's not even a 2, but he's just the guy you need to help you get it done. So that's the NBA playoffs. I think and one last thing I did want to share, which I think was funny more than anything. It's more about funny and just kind of I got to give a shout out to Paul Pierce. Speaking of the Boston Celtics, who trail now 2-0 and now have to go on the road. But shout out to Paul Pierce because he is a real one. He made the comment that he would walk to the gym, walk to the game. If the Celtics lost, he put his house. He said, "Bet on it." And true to his word, Paul Pierce did exactly what he said. Check this video out, courtesy of my man Apex Jones, who shared it on X. And that's another guy who you should follow on X, who just be getting in those LeBron James fans and just coming with a lot of truth. Jacob, the guy, also Jacob. There's a few other guys. My man Vlad, not Vlad, but True Haitian, I believe his name is. There's a few other really good accounts. The guys that just really keep it. Goatman 23. A lot of guys that really do a great job of exposing these lies.
Oh, damn. It's nice and bright outside. All right. Man of my word. All right, man. Welcome to this journey. Here I go. Get back with y'all in a minute. Man, this is really wild, though. I can't believe this. Celtics got me out here like this, dog. I'm really walking up here like this. Man, I can't believe it. I got a long walk to go. So I got to put my shades on. Everybody won't recognize. Man, this is blowing me. This is blowing me, dog. Man, I'm way out here. I'm stepping, though. Here we go, baby. Here we go. All right, man. Every hour, top of the hour, I'll give y'all an update on where I'm at. All right. I'm really outside like this, dog. I can't believe this. Celtics got me, dog. What the? Come on, man. All right, dog. I'm on it. I'll get back with y'all in a minute. I'm low right now. Stop at this gas station. Give me some water. Give y'all an update. I done just passed receiver. I'm about to take it into the, I'm almost going to make a right. Probably going to go up into the mountains pretty soon. I'm over here sweating, though. Man, I need to take a break in a minute. This is crazy, dog. I can't believe this. C's got me out here like this, dog. I'm sweating. So I'm about like 4 miles in right now. So I think I got like another 16 miles. I've been going for about an hour and a half right now. So, all right, I keep on, baby. I'm a man of my word, though. All right, I'll holler at y'all, bro.
Shout out to the truth for being a man of his word. Shout out. And in pursuit of truth and happiness is the reason why I go hard on some of these videos about the LeBron and the media and the lying and the fakeness. I just can't stand fakeness. And I can't stand somebody just constantly lying. LeBron James is absolutely one of the 10 greatest players that have ever played the game. So not saying that at all. I don't believe he's number 2. That's an ESPN creation. He just somehow skipped Kareem. He skipped over Kobe. Stop telling me about your stats. The way Kyrie said, I want to show you a guy who won when it matters. Kobe Bryant is disrespected for winning with Shaq, but LeBron wins with the Avengers, and he's not discredited. Doesn't make any sense. But if you look at Kobe, I'm not even going to get into that. The man three-peated and was the guy in the fourth quarter that the ball had to go to. And he almost three-peated again, beating the legendary Boston Celtics new version before this new version with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and the rest of those guys, Devin White and the rest of them. You had a big 4 that Kobe went through and beat that LeBron couldn't beat until they got old, right? And he had to beat him with the super team Heat. So all this is said, Paul Pierce is the truth. I stand for the truth, and that's the reason why we do these shows. Listen, y'all hopefully enjoyed this one. See you on that. I'll see you on the next time. I'm out.